Happy New Year, man. How are you?
What's happening, man? I mean, can we kill the background music? I want to hear you guys.
Since when?
First of all,
Jeez, better watch out. River's about a month away from having this baby. Like, she will bite your head off right now if you come too strong.
Whoa.
Let her play the music, bro.
River's about to have
Just let her play the music.
What I'm saying, I know, but River's about to have a baby.
Oh yeah, we're a month
out.
away.
I didn't know this. So now T-Bob has a kid and River's about to have a kid on
We're-
her phone?
Look, we're all growing. The only one without a kid's Nathan. What a loser.
But
But
he
he's
is a
like
kid.
22, whatever. Yeah, doesn't matter.
Well,
Boog.
yeah, that's not true. But,
Yeah, River.
but to
It's
answer
crazy.
your
Rivers has
question,
an even bigger belly than you do right now, Boog.
I mean, I'm close to having like a 4-pack. Really, I'll never get a 6 because that lower section just doesn't want to firm up.
Doesn't matter how much you run.
Hey, the upper abs
I
look
mean,
good though. That's like those old like 1920s like wrestlers and boxers. They all got that 4-pack rocking.
Hey, listen. No matter how many, what do you call them, knee ups or knee tucks I do, that lower section
Ain't going anywhere.
tighten up. But yeah, but to answer your question though, we got Colts in Texas, man, and should be a pretty good game Saturday. We got the first game of the playoffs Saturday in Houston, and I'm looking forward to seeing the neck beard go against Deshaun Watson, man.
Are the Texans kind of fraudulent, Booger? This is something that I've heard floated all year, just because when you look at the teams that they played, like they had a very good year, but when you look at the teams that they played to go on this winning streak, it maybe wasn't a murderer's row. Now, everybody in the NFL is good. I guess, are the Texans fraudulent? What do you think?
I think the Texans are inconsistent. I think they started 0-3, and they win like 9 in a row.
Yeah.
They lost one, and they kind of finished strong. They're built to win now. I think if you look at that team, they lost Will Fuller, they lost Demaryius Thomas, so those two receivers hurt. So now you got Deshaun Watson, a pretty kind of average offensive line, and DeAndre Hopkins. Defensively, they're loaded. I mean, you got Honey Badger, you got Merciless, you got Clowney, you got Watt, Zach Cunningham. They got a lot of good players. They are built to win now, but the problem has been they've been inconsistent, and I think when you look at a young quarterback who's inconsistent, it kind of leads to your team being that way, and so that's kind of what you get with them.
Yeah, Watson pretty beat up right now, right? Quarterback most sacked in the league up to this point, I believe with over 60 sacks. Booger Mcfarland, Monday Night Football, his crew will be on the Colts-Texans call this weekend. I want to talk all playoffs with you, but I got to get to this story and get your opinion. What should the Steelers do with Antonio Brown?
Wow. Here's the thing, man. I don't think any one player is bigger than the organization because sometimes, even though a player can be great, it's addition by subtraction. With that being said, you got to be careful when you get rid of top 5 players at their position. Just get rid of them. He's a top 5 wide receiver in football. If I'm the owner, I cut out the middleman. I cut out the head coach. I bring him in my office as an owner, and I tell him this is my franchise. And you got to look me in the eye and tell me this is how you're going to act and how you're going to go. And if I don't get a good feel from him doing that as an owner, then I got to cut my losses because ultimately you can't have one guy that gets preferential treatment and the other 52 or 60 guys, when you count the practice squad, see this one guy doing his own thing. And I applaud Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin has kind of been on the hot seat. And, he had the stones to sit Antonio Brown, depending on which report you believe, and not play him in a game that they needed to win. And so I applaud Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin might be the most underrated coach in the NFL just because nobody, really gives him a lot of credit. But I do think if I'm Pittsburgh, I would bring Antonio Brown in the office, and I'd even bring the head coach in. And I'm sitting with the guy that owns the team, and I say, hey, here's the deal. All right, I'm the guy that's paying you. You might not respect anybody else, but it's my money that you're spending. And here's what I think. And if I don't get a good feel from that meeting, then I trade him because I think there's several teams in the National Football League that would trade for him. I don't think they can cut him, but I do think they could trade him and get a first and a fourth if they wanted to.
Talking to Booger Mcfarland at ESPN. Booger, we'll go back to the playoffs, Boog. When you look at the teams playing this weekend, who's the biggest threat out of both the AFC and NFC to make a run from Wild Card Week and maybe make it all the way to the Super Bowl?
Go Chargers. It's the Los Angeles Chargers because I think, what they did to Kansas City hadn't been done a lot by a lot of people this year. I think that, for me, they're the most complete team on the AFC. When you look at defense, offense, special teams, I think they're better in Kansas City. That doesn't mean that they're going to beat them, but I do think they're better. When you look at Melvin Gordon, They may get Hunter Henry back. So now you got a two-headed monster tight end with Hunter Henry, Gates. They got 3 wide receivers that are 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". They got a quarterback who's a Hall of Famer. What don't you like on the offense? On the defensive side, Melvin Ingram, Joey Bosa, two pretty good guys that can rush the passer. So I think when it's all said and done, name me a more complete team than the Chargers. So of all the teams playing this weekend, if you gave me some of T-Bob's money that he gets from the mail enhancement ad, I'd put it on the Chargers.
What about out the NFC? If I made you pick one from the NFC?
Wow. People want to believe in the whole, Cinderella story with the Eagles. I believe you are what your record says you are. I don't necessarily believe in the Eagles. I would probably lean toward the Cowboys, but, man, I don't trust them because I think as good as Dak has been, I think he's too inconsistent for me to really jump on that bandwagon. But if you made me choose when I choose the Cowboys, running game, defense, they get a home game this weekend against Seattle. Their formula can travel. They can play in New Orleans. They beat New Orleans. They can play against the Rams. It's a physical style. It can travel. So if you gave me one choice, I'd take the Cowboys.
What's the rumors? What's the talk on the league about Leonard Fournette?
Here's what I say about Leonard, man. I'm not in Jacksonville. I think Tom Coughlin is a very respected head coach. He's a no-nonsense guy. When Tom Coughlin and the organization comes out and says they're going to void your guarantees, to me that's a red flag. That's an issue. All right? They drafted Leonard 4th overall to be a physical running back, to kind of be the face of the franchise because they don't have a quarterback that really garners being that guy. And so I think that with everything that I've read that's come out of there, Fournette has done something to rub the organization the wrong way. Mm-hmm. And as a professional football player, take away the word football player. As a professional, when your bosses are not happy with something you're doing, your job as a professional is to, A, find out why, B, figure out whether or not you want to be there long term, and if you do, you got to get in line.
Yep.
And I think if Leonard's got to figure out what's going on. We all love him in Louisiana. He's a tremendous talent. We all know his story, but this isn't about his story. This is about being a professional athlete, and whatever is happening in Jacksonville, once again, I tell you, I don't know because I'm not there.
Yeah.
But there's something that's happened down there to cause one of the most respected guys in the business, Tom Coughlin, to say that they're going to void his guarantees and that basically what they did last Sunday was disrespectful. I'd be really uncomfortable if I'm Leonard Fournette in Jacksonville.
Yeah, Jacksonville fired their running backs coach Tyrone Wheatley yesterday morning as well. All right, Boog, I got 1 minute left. Tell me what you thought about LSU yesterday ending that 25-game win streak for Central Florida.
Good. Happy for everybody. But understand that now that yesterday's over with, guys, you don't go to LSU to beat Central Florida.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. It's good that LSU got 10 wins. It's good that we finished on a high note. If I would have told you in August LSU was going to go 10-3, I think everybody in Baton Rouge would have signed up for it based on the expectation relative to the schedule that was in front of them. Now, with that being said, Les Miles won 10 games a lot. All right? So now the bar has been raised, and it should be raised. You want to compete for SEC championships, compete for college football playoff spots. That's the next step. All right? Coach O's won, 6, 9, and 10. Okay, now the next step is how do you win and get in the conversation for college football playoff? And my focus now turns to finish off the recruiting. Let's get the big defensive tackle out of A-Mead. Mm-hmm. And then my focus turns to September 7th, 2019, on the road at Austin. I think it'll be the biggest game to date in Coach Orgeron's career at Austin on the road, because you win that game, you're probably going to be 5-0, 6-0, whatever, getting ready to play Florida. And to me, that can launch you to where you want to go.
Yeah, it's a massive matchup early on in the college football season next year. Boog, have a great call this weekend, man. Great to catch up you in 2019.
Later, man. Y'all have a happy New Year.
All right, later, Boog.
There he is, Boog. Weekly brought to you by Central Plumbing Company. We'll be back and close that hour number 1.